Hello there, it is Pete over at the Sampleist, and today we are checking out Hearth and Hollow Folk Accordion by Spitfire Audio. In the third entry of the Hearth and Hollow series, Hunter and Rogerson, in partnership with Spitfire Audio, have drawn their focus to the folk accordion. Designed for the modern composer, the Hearth and Hollow folk accordion features all of the character, breathiness and fragility of an accordion, with modern sampling capturing every nuance and detail. With an additional cinematic side, Hearth and Hollow folk accordion has the ability to tug at the heartstrings and ensure there is not a dry eye in the house. Hearth and Hollow Folk Accordion downloads at 4.58 gigabytes and it runs in the free version of Contact and is NKS compatible. It's currently on £79 intro price. In this video, we're going to do something slightly different. I'm going to do a really quick walkthrough, and then I'm going to do some real-time composing. So I aim to compose an entire piece from start to finish within this video. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Spitfire Audio for sending over a copy of Hearth and Hollow Folk Accordion so we can make this video. While we do get the instruments for free, it doesn't in any way influence our thoughts, ideas or judgments. We are just working composers giving you our insights. And of course, as ever, if you've not already hit that subscribe button, please do. It's just appeared on your screen. Without further ado, let's check out Hearth and Hollow Folk Accordion. Here we go, we have Hearth and Hollow Folk Accordion loaded up in the free version of Contact Player 8. Because this is a slightly different format video, I'm going to do a really quick whistle-stop tour of the Hearth and Hollow Folk Accordion. So you get a kind of a flavour of what it sounds like, but I do urge you to go over to the Spitfire Audio website and their YouTube channel and check out their full extensive walkthrough, because that will be far more detailed. The main focus on this video is the composing and composing in real time. Let's check it out. So on the left hand side we have got the buttons. And you can hear they are playing chords in the key of C. Absolutely brilliant. And then on the right hand side we've got the keys. Okay, I don't know what's playing there. It sounded a little bit jaunty. Now, when you play it together, so obviously I'm going to play in the key of C major, or A minor in this case. So everything fits together. Now you can change the key there as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail of the controls, by the way. So we've got different articulations for both the buttons and the keys. So we can go quarter notes. And we can go half notes. And the same will happen for the buttons. And of course the mod wheel does control the dynamics as well. And then we've got these blooms. The blooms are absolutely amazing. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And you can hear the accordion noise as well, which is brilliant. I love that detail, that character. And we've got 4-bar blooms as well. So obviously the instrument does all the work. There's no mod wheel required. And they've got these really cool grooves. Actually, I was on Bloom still there. Sorry, Groove. Fantastic. And there's different grooves. So you've got groove 2. Which is very, very useful. Now I've got all of these different controls. So obviously different room settings, different reverb, ambience, panning. You can adjust the level of noise. So if you want it to be totally quiet, you can have that as well. But I love the character going on. And then adjust the dynamic control and the stereo width. The balance between the buttons and the keys as well. So for me, just when you load it up, the buttons are a little bit quieter than the keys. That doesn't matter. That's fine. You can adjust that. And of course, there are some articulation setting controls as well. So that is the first instrument, which is a folk accordion. If I load up the accordion ecosystems, these are sound design pads, I guess. Let me play one. I'm just going to crank the volume up a little bit. That bass. Wow. I'll bring the volume down a little bit, but yeah, that bass was absolutely amazing. So in the middle, we've got this picture frame, and it's got all the different presets, and these are absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. And of course I'm using the mod wheel. Amazing. That did go a little bit Twin Peaks, didn't it? So that's outcropping. I'll do one more. Stony Sleep. Brilliant. Now that gives you an idea of the Hearth and Hollow folk accordion, what it sounds like, what it can do. It's got two sides. You've got the ecosystems, and of course you've got the very detailed folk accordion. And I'm really looking forward to composing with it. So in the next section, it's going to be composing. I'm going to start recording and just see what happens. But I will set up a template using a lot of my Spitfire audio favorites. And the idea is I'm going to go for some underscore. I'm imagining some kind of sort of nature scenes and sunrises and things like that. However, that could all change as we compose. It is now time for the real-time composing. And you can see there is a lot of Hearth and Hollow folk accordions going on in this template. There are 4 separate articulations at the top, and I have put a small amount of Spitfire Audio's air reverb on these instruments as well, because I'm going to be creating something atmospheric. And then I have 4 ecos, and to complement these, I've gone for some of my Spitfire staples. We've got the Olaf Arnold's felt piano, and I have spoken a lot about using the kalimba to double the piano or add an extra layer on top. So I've got that in there as well. From album 1, I'm using the East Island Hits. We've got some low booms. Orchestral Swarms, I'm using some high strings, and these are very sort of brittle and rhythmic, and they sound absolutely gorgeous to contrast the texture. And then Hammers, I'm using the bass drum loops, and finally BT Phobos for some atmospheric percussion. And I do use BT Phobos a lot. It is a treasure trove of awesome sounds. So we're going to start off just by getting a simple piano part. Now at the Sampleist, we do talk about this a lot, and we like using straightforward chord progressions because we don't want our demos to be over the top and highly technical and sort of take away from the instrument. So I'm just going to play something really, really simple in the key of A minor, and we are at 120 BPM. Now there might be a little bit of shuffling around, just finding my sustain pedal, and let's go for it. So there is my intro, or it might be my first section. I haven't decided yet. Now I'm going straight to the MIDI because I do want to quantize what is going on. And let's just make sure we're starting here. Now, if I select all, and I'm going to put sort of soft quantize, which is set to 60%. And in Nuendo, you can actually zoom in even further, and it will sort of strengthen that as well. Now, I want the first beat to be hard quantize, so I'm just going to turn that off, and yeah, everything lands where it should do, and the sustain is on. Lovely. So that is our first little introduction. And to set the atmosphere as well, I'm just going to grab an East Island hit. I love the low end of these. And quite simply, I'm going to bring the volume down. Hard quantize those and just make sure it's nice and even and duplicate. Lovely. Now, let's go for Old Growth. So the chord progression is really simple. It's A minor, F, A minor, G, and then down to F again. So I've chosen Old Growth for some low end. So let's see how that goes. Absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to quantize that, and as you can see, did not quantize that very well. Lovely. So we're building our first section. Now I just want to make sure using the sustains that I can have some kind of melody or movement going on. Okay, it sounds quite nice. Now I want to hit the major seventh on the melody. So when we go to F, I actually want to hit an E up here. So So let's go to an E there, and then we're on F. So let's go down to C. Just see how that sounds like. I'm not too happy with this transition here, but we'll check that out in a sec. Okay, so there's a little bit of MIDI that I need to look at there. And you can actually hear there is a small amount of delay on the transition. So it's not a legato instrument, but that sounds really, really nice. That's good. So what I'm going to do there is actually, I'm going to use that later. But I'm going to set, I will start at minus 120 milliseconds. Let's just see how that sounds like. So where it crosses over, I just want to sort that out. And this is really like composing on the grid, as it were. So I'm only using just the white keys on the keyboard and just being mindful of the root third and fifth of each chord. So if it's A minor, it's A, C, E. If it's F, it's F, A, C, and G, B, D. So I'm using those as my strong notes, and then with some passing notes, and also hitting that major 7 on chord 4, which is the F. Right then, so we're getting somewhere. So I'm going to move that over. Really do like that. So it means I'm going to repeat this at some point. So let's repeat it there. And I'm going to repeat those as well. Now, as I was always taught when it comes to composing, every time you repeat, you need to add something new. So let's add so atmospheric percussion. And of course, it doesn't matter if that's out of time when I play it in. So I'm going to quantize. And with Phobos, if you're using rhythm, just make sure you're sort of going from start to end of each bar. Now that sounds good. And let's bring some swarms in. So finishing on an F. Yeah. And of course, I'm using the mod wheel while I'm playing everything in as well. So you can record. I'll show you the modulation. I normally have shortcuts set up, but I don't at the moment in this version Nuendo. It's a good job I do check these, because when I shorten the MIDI, it does sometimes cut off the modulation information. So you can see there, I'm using the mod wheel. You can record it separately if you want to. There we go. So that's all good. Right. So I'm going to use the swarms. So the swarms use modulation, the mod wheel, a lot. So we're going to do 2 bars. Not sure how I feel about those being on an F. Do you know what? Good old parabola. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, so we have that going on. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's add a bass drum from Hammers as well. So even though we're playing at 120, I do quite like trying out different loops from different tempos. Yeah, I like that. Just something subtle in the background. It's not at all overpowering. So we've got that going on. Let's close that down. Beautiful. Right. Now we need some more Hearth and Hollow going on. So Dust Spell. So I'm going to bring the volume down, and this is just kind of almost like harmonics in the background. Okay, that sounds great, except I went down to a B there. So we're on the chord of G, so GBD would fit. For movement's sake, it'll look better or sound better with a D there. And of course, as you do when you compose, things jump out at you. So if I just go onto the automation, I want that to go from silence with the swarms. Just want them to cut out as well. That's absolutely perfect. And I'm going to quickly save that. I do have autosave enabled, but you never know. Anything could happen. Okay, so we've got that going on, which sounds great. Now, if I double, have some half notes. Yeah. Let's bring that down as well. Move those to the left a little bit. Okay. So that works. But I want it to work there because we're changing, we're adding new layers as we go through. Now I feel like it's time for some kalimba. So sometimes I double exactly what's going on, but I might just play an arpeggio for each chord. Okay, I like that. I forgot to press record, so I'm just going to use the sort of MIDI recall feature in Cubase. Now, that sounds really cool. Let's make sure that's hard quantized. Let's go jump over to this window for this bit. So one thing I like is, obviously we're playing a low kalimba part there. If I just copy and paste the whole lot and shift it up an octave. Yeah, we'll go around there and just bring it down. Okay, so that is a really nice line. I don't know if I want to use it just yet. It's a bit up front in the mix as well. I'm going to wash it out with a bit more reverb. I like these lush hall sounds. Yeah, it's got an almost celeste feel now. We've done a bit more. Okay, it sounded really good. And let's add... the hinterlands has got a bit of a pulse to it. So I think I'm going to put that in the next section. So let's also get some blooms going on. In fact, we're going to use the keys, the button side. I'm going to bring them down. I think they sound brilliant. Now, for some reason, I didn't catch that second bloom, so I'm going to leave the mod wheel alone. I'm cutting off the swell, so it's 2 bars. Let's make that kind of uniform. And that sounds great, so I'm just going to layer that in as well. And we'll duplicate it. So now we've got a couple of new elements coming in second time around. So I'm going to sort of call that my A section. And something I frequently do is once I've got an A section, I take a step back and just see what can I do as an introduction. Oh, I always leave 1 bar as well at the start of every project. So you got a bit of a lead in when you record. If you notice, I don't just press record, I do play and record. And sort of jump in that way, which is cool. And when you're doing your markers at the mix down stage, you can actually have a little bit of silence at the start as well. So that's why I never start at the very start of a composition. Start bar 1 of a project. That's what I meant. Lovely. Now, let's have a think. We've got horns aplenty. Which is a gorgeous pad. So let's have a kind of pad intro, and I've set up the Easter Island hits. So I seem to have lost that note there. There we go. Okay, now looking at the MIDI, I did play that quite high, so I'm going to bring that down, quantize that. Didn't quantize any of it. Yeah, loving the movement. So let's add some old growth as well. And you know, for an intro, that will actually do for me. So I set up 16 bars, but we're just going to stick with 8. Lovely. Oh, I'm tempted. No, because we bring that in later. Okay, so that sounds really nice. We're going to sort of increase momentum for the second part. So section B. I tend to just duplicate. So I use the hits as kind of like a marker. So I know we're looking at 16. Is it 16 bars? Yeah, 16 bars for the middle section. Now, again, I'm going to go to the felt piano. I could change away from A minor and sort of do a... Let's get the old sustain pedal going. So just like a Lydian climb up, so 4, 5, 6. That'd be F, G, and A minor. Or I could do something. Although that did just sound like I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss. Interesting. Let's change it up for this one. So I'm going to go F. Do a Lydian climb. Now, I didn't like that. I liked some of it. And there's nothing wrong when you're composing, taking a couple of passes at doing something. Okay, so that will lead into A minor quite nicely. So it's really, really simple. Now, I will address some of the interesting note choices there as we go through. But you can see it's climbing just by the very shape of the MIDI. And I'm not too concerned with velocity really at the moment. So I'm just going to do that a little bit better. There we go. I need one more. That's some outrageous editing there of that sustain pedal. There we go. That'll do for now. And let's just quantize. So again, I'm going to use soft quantize, and we're going to be in, yeah. I love this feature that you can just zoom in and increase the precision, as it were, of the quantize. Okay. So I just noticed that didn't land. There we go. That F note. One thing you can't do in Nuendo is just drag velocity like you can in Cubase. Do you know what? I quite like those notes. I do. So I'm going to leave that. Now, it sounds quite nice when actually it dies down. So I'm going to leave hammers. And this is how I end up shaping my compositions. So I'm just going to duplicate that because we are going to go back into that section there. And we're going to build that up a little bit more. So when we bring the A section back, it gets built up. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we've got hammers, we've got some booms. Well, we need some accordions, don't we? So I think the quarter notes, actually, let's go with the hinterlands because I want that kind of like oscillating sound. Bring that down there. Okay, we like that. Let's. I like keeping everything almost like Tetris, if that makes sense. So all the blocks working. Now, that's just an F and a G chord, an F and a G chord, an F and a G chord. So halfway through, we want something to give it more interest. Now, again, Phobos, we've got that really cool low sound. So the way Phobos works is some of the patches have different layers of percussion. So if I go on that one, that's kind of like the middle. Yeah, so that's more sound designy. So if you're not used to the instrument, you got all these different layers. It's a fantastic synth. I've used it for years and years and years. So we're getting some more momentum there. And I think the next time I want that middle one as well. There we go. And I'm already thinking ahead. So I want to build this section up, but I don't want the middle one until the last part. There we go. Okay, good. So we've got that. Now I want the kalimba, but I only want the kalimba there. So because I've soft quantized it, I'm just going to cut it a bar before. I want it to kick in there. Like I say, I'm just hard quantizing because they're the first notes. Yeah, that sounds cool. I've got to admit, actually, I'm not a fan there of that middle one. So I'm going to build up with hammers. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and we're going to add some quarter notes. So I've not actually used these yet, because yeah, they're set to quarter notes. Bring them down, take them to the left. Yeah, I'm guessing the MIDI is overlapping because they're choking out. And a bit of a harmony line. Oops. There we go. It seems a bit lazy just doing that, adding a swarm there, but that's what I'm going to do. The same swarm, just using a swarm on A. Lovely. And let's get the old growth. bring some low end in. That's pretty good. So let's just hear from here to going into the section. Okay, so we just need an ending. Okay, so we've got a bit of dust spell at the end. Let's make the velocity a little bit less. I didn't get there in time. Okay, cool. See, here, I'm just thinking melodically, I could just do more of a climb, but I do like this sustain 4 chord. That the melody creates. And there we go. So let's have a quick listen. So I'm just checking for balance in each section. I don't want to be that lazy and leave that as an A. We'll do it as a C. So this is good. So I like the texture. Yeah, it's all sounding good. So what I'm going to do is mix and put my usual mastering plugins on. And as I always do, I edit a small video together to give it some context, and we'll listen to the finished composition. But that's not bad, a 2-minute composition. Obviously, if I had more time, because I'm conscious of sort of this being a 3-hour video, I'd look at different melodies and more development, but this just gives you a good idea of how you can use the Hearth and Hollow folk accordions in a bit of cinematic underscore. Okay then, so yeah, check out the video and then we'll finish with my closing thoughts. Here we are once again. It is closing thoughts time, and we're talking about Hearth and Hollow folk accordion from Spitfire Audio. When I came to edit the video for the composition, it kind of took a different direction. And I was going for more of a underscore, maybe some nature scenes, some sunrises, change of seasons maybe. Yet, having listened to the composition back a few more times, it felt way more dramatic. So I went for dramatic scenes, lots of black and white, colour gradient changes, some classic staples of my editing, sort of cutting to black and fading in and all this kind of thing. And it's all down to the folk accordion. And I'm absolutely blown away by this instrument, and I'll tell you why. First of all, accordions aren't my first choice for dramatic underscore. I'll say that now, but these sound incredible, and you can play them as a folk accordion and they will sound great. They'll sound detailed, they'll sound very, very close. So as a natural accordion, wonderful. But then they have this cinematic edge, and I'm not just talking about the ecosystems, which are fantastic, by the way. I'm talking about the way you can use the different articulations on both the buttons and the keys, and with a little bit of reverb, because that's all I used, you can really think outside the box and create these gorgeous cinematic lines. I absolutely love the blooms. I adore them. Having them swell in then cut off is brilliant. Adding movement with the quarter note, the half note, the grooves, and then of course using the sustains as well, like a melodic instrument. So I was pleasantly surprised, and it's something that I'm going to use more because it gives you your compositions a bit more edge, makes them different, makes them stand out maybe. I don't know, but it's a really, really wonderful instrument. In terms of value for money, I think it's right there. I think the design is fantastic. The way it mimics the left and right hand playing the buttons and the keys on the keyboard is really, really clever. All the different controls you've got, and then of course just the high quality sampling, and like I say, the detail, the character, it really, really is fun. So I hope from this video, not only did you take away how to use, well, not how to use, just how I would use Hearth and Hollow folk accordion, and also maybe some composing techniques, or some sort of shortcuts maybe, especially if you're a Nuendo or a Cubase user. And then of course the sort of admiration I have for this instrument as well. I think it is wonderful. So do check out the Spitfire audio walkthroughs, because obviously they're in far more detail than the really, really quick walkthrough that I did. All that leads me to say is thank you so much, Spitfire Audio, for sending over a copy of Hearth and Hollow folk accordion so we can make this video. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a like on the video, and of course drop us a comment. What do you think about the video? And of course, what do you think about this format of video as well? Is it helpful? Is it useful? And if you've not done so already, please check out our other videos on YouTube. We have plenty of videos going on. And of course, please hit that subscribe button. It is great every time we see a new subscriber join our channel. So there you go, give it a little whack. Until next time, have a great day and keep making that beautiful music.